all, if none of you have gotten the agenda for today's meeting, please say so to Denise in the chat, and we can get you a copy of the agenda, but it should have been emailed out to you and all the materials. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and do the roll call. And of course, Denise, if you want to go ahead and just go by one and call on individuals, that would be great. I encourage everyone throughout this meeting, if you are not speaking, just to remind everyone to please keep yourself muted for the good of the meeting. And please note that when we're doing roll call this afternoon, we do have to state where we are coming from. So whether we're zooming in Ann Arbor, Michigan, or what your location is. All right, thank you. And with that, Denise, if you could please call us off.
Yes, thank you for mentioning location. Commissioner Button.
Commissioner Button is here. I'm located in Ypsilanti, Michigan.
Okay. Commissioner Allen Pipkin. Okay. Commissioner Solomon. He's here. Councilmember Nelson.
I'm here calling in from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay. Commissioner Holt.
Here from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you. Commissioner Gossage. Don't see. Commissioner Mozak.
I'm reporting from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Hello.
Thank you. Commissioner Keeler.
This is Commissioner Keeler, West Side Ann Arbor, from my recliner.
Commissioner Poster.
Don't think she's in yet.
Okay. Commissioner Hawkins. And Chair Damon.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zach Damon. I'm the chairman of the Commission on Disability Issues. I'm coming to you from Ann Arbor, Michigan and Washtenaw County. I just wanted to let you know, Denise, this afternoon, Christiana will not be joining us this evening. She's under the weather. So for everyone watching, Christiana, we hope that you can get well soon. And I do see some other commissioners that have trickled in as well. So Denise, if we could get them on the record, that would be great.
Commissioner Solomon, your location? You have to unmute.
I think he's frozen at the moment.
I think he's frozen too. Commissioner Poster? Okay, I can always check with them later. Thank you.
No problem. All right.
Also, can I interrupt? I'm noticing under the chat that Alex Gossage says that he's here and he's reporting from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
I don't see it. No.
It's in the chat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Welcome.
I didn't look down there. Too busy looking to my left. Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Sorry about that, Alex.
No problem.
All right.
And where are you reporting from, Alex, today?
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay, hold on. I see Rachel coming.
Just have a few stragglers. Thanks for your patience, folks.
Okay. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, Rachel.
Good afternoon.
And where are you from today?
Reporting from Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Thank you. Okay, let me see what Commissioner Poster. Commissioner Poster, you have your hand up? Okay, well, we have a quorum.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, I appreciate, again, everyone being here this afternoon and taking the time to resume after our summer break. So I hope everyone had a fruitful and productive summer. And I look forward to just keeping our goals moving forward. And also I look forward to our presentations and the agenda today. So next we have the approval of today's agenda. And so again, for those of you that did get the agenda, I encourage you to take a moment to review that at this time. If you have not received a copy of the agenda or any of the meeting items for today, please let myself and or Denise know through the chat, and we can make sure that you get those items at this time. But I'd just like to take just a quick minute to review this agenda. And if there are any corrections or anything that should be corrected, please speak up and let us know at this time. All right. If there are no corrections or anything to be corrected on the agenda, I'd like to move to approve today's agenda. Is there anyone that is willing to second that? All right, Kathleen, she seconds. So of all the commissioners, if you are in favor of approving today's agenda, if you could quickly unmute and say aye, that would be great.
Aye.
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 Great. All right. All right, so today's agenda is approved. All right. Moving on to the approval of our last meeting's minutes. Of course, those were sent out. And of course, if any of you had any questions about those, hopefully that can be communicated at this time. But I didn't see anything that needed to be corrected from June's meeting minutes at this time. Did anyone notice anything, or is there a motion to approve the June meeting minutes?
I'll move to
Commissioner
approve.
Mozart.
I'm going to interrupt because I've had my hand up. There is a
Yeah.
correction that needs to be made, please.
Okay,
Under the CFDC report from myself that month, it should say that they're asking for CFDC letter of support, not CODI letter of support.
CFDC.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay,
the Council for Disability Concerns, you put in our commission instead. Thank you.
sure.
All right. Thank you for that, Kathleen. Are there any other corrections to the June meeting minutes? All right, well, I would like to move to approve the corrected June meeting minutes. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
All right, Larry moves to approve. So are all of you in favor then of approving the corrected June meeting minutes? If you guys are in favor, please unmute and say aye.
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 Thank you. All right. So we have the June meeting minutes are approved. Next, I'd like to open it up to just any quick public comment. I didn't know if there were any of those from the public that had anything to say, or if anyone had written in or emailed
Yes.
us about anything. Oh,
We
there
have
was.
public comment.
Okay.
Ms. Klingsman?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Jane Klingston. I'm a longtime townie and a wheelchair user. On March 5th, 2012, the 2010 ADA standards for accessible design were enacted, defining design rules that required to make recreational facilities, including city parks, nature areas, recreational open areas accessible under ADA. Public city facilities like Vets Arena, Mac Pool, Fuller Pool, Cobblestone Farm, the Farmers Market were already covered under the 1990 design rules. But how it took a decade for the City Parks Department to finally get to the point it's developing an ADA transition plan to implement these federal accessibility requirements. I understand that there's an RFP being developed. However, it's being developed without input from the ADA public and community stakeholders. We have one chance to get this right. We have one chance to build a plan that will facilitate opening our parks to all people regardless of ability. One chance for universal access to an extensively high-quality parks and recreation system. To do so, the public and major stakeholders need to be engaged from the start and incorporated as part of the team developing the city's ADA Parks Transition Plan. The RFP out is only to cover 35 of the ADA parks to hold 2 community meetings, train staff to evaluate other parks. The budget is very small. It's only $116,000. And I feel strongly it should be expanded to consider the following. To seek a contractor that has ADA certified planners, to have all 80 parks included, for up to 5 community meetings, for 1 for each area that a major city park is being evaluated for improvements, held by Zoom and in person, to have 2 on-site meetings at wheelchair accessible venues that allow participants to view the realities and necessary improvements to meet the design rules. The other point that I want to make here is that Texas RAS is very different from ADA in some aspects, and we need to ensure that we're following accessibility rules are going to provide the most universal access for our city, not just the minimum. So we want to do something that is going to be a long-term perspective. We need to include online surveys, forums, and other alternative forms of feedback that are able to improve participation by a community with variable modes of communication. To give you a perspective on how much the city has spent on other projects, on a preliminary study for a single intersection, the city has spent as much as $200,000 before. Typically, the city has a community meeting prior to holding an RFP on a project of this type and scale in order to ensure that stakeholders have an opportunity to provide input to what could be critical within the design process of this particular plan. The city could also use a citywide universal access and ADA accessibility subplan in the city's master plan that it would be appropriate for the commission to spearhead. In this, the commission could include planning goals to develop greater accessibility in the city, including measures on housing, transit, and public spaces. Please take action. Please be heard, as you are our voice in making the city a place where people can not only live, but live well, equitably sharing the public parks and recreation areas with everyone regardless of ability. Thank you for your work.
Thank you, Jane. We do appreciate your public comment, and I encourage you to stick around for the entirety of this meeting, as we will be having a presentation from Parks Manager, Mr. Colin Smith, as well as the Park Planner, Adam Fairchow. So they'll be able to give you a great explanation on how the Commission on Disability Issues helped with a little bit of that planning, as well as the implementation that they'll be going forward with in terms of ADA compliance, because of course, I'm sure Colin and both Adam can assure you that I made abundantly clear that these plans going forward need to have accessibility, need to have a proper ADA compliance, and need to be inclusive and accessible for every resident in Ann Arbor. So I completely agree with you, and I encourage you to stick around for their presentation coming up shortly. All right, so thank you very much for that. Next, I'd like to move on to our special presentations, of course. And the first presentation that we have on the agenda today, I'd like to welcome Oriana Diem. She is the Director of Nursing and also the Director of the Coronavirus Response Coordinator for Packard Health. And she also has her colleague with her this afternoon. So welcome to both of you for Packard Health. And thank you to Becca as well for being with us. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. And thanks everyone for having us. We're here, I think, just to tell you a little bit about Packard Health and what we do. We do a lot of outreach efforts. Packard Health is a federally qualified health center that's been around in the Ann Arbor area, just for anyone that's unfamiliar, since 1973. We have a mission to help people that are under or uninsured, but we see anyone in the community, we help anyone in the community. We have 3 health centers, one on the west side of Ann Arbor, one we just moved from Packard Road, where we've been since 1973, to Carpenter in a nice new building, which is great. We can see more patients there and have more providers. It's really exciting. And then we also have an Ypsilanti clinic. So we have primary care first services, behavioral health services, outreach services, which Becca will talk a little bit more about in a second. Beck and I are both nurses at Packard Health. And then we've gotten pretty involved in trying to facilitate safety and support during the coronavirus pandemic. So we had testing services. We're not doing that right now. There's a lot of other opportunities for testing. We wanted to focus our energy, but we are doing a lot with vaccines. So all 3 of our clinic sites do have access to COVID-19 vaccines, and we just got our flu shots in. So anyone that needs anything like that, still, we encourage you to get vaccinated. Then another cool thing that Becca and I have been doing as nurses is going out to people's homes and vaccinating them for anyone that it's difficult to get into a clinic or out to a vaccination site. So we have been to quite a few people's homes. Becca really kind of leads that, but we go as a team often too. And then we also do some pop-up stuff. So we will have some kind of combined COVID-19 vaccination and influenza vaccination pop-up stuff that we'll be advertising and planning in the very near future, where people can come outside. I think people are a little more comfortable now, but we did this last year because people were really nervous to come in, and we wanted people to have access to really basic healthcare without having to enter the clinic if that was the barrier. So we started these picnic table clinics where we just hang out at a picnic table outside of the offices so people can come in and get the basic services that they need. So that's kind of that. We just want to encourage anyone that needs a vaccine. I think Becca, actually, I'm not sure of the phone number right now. She can share that, but you can just call us up and we can schedule someone to come out, probably us, and give you a vaccine at home if that's helpful. There's also tons of transportation options, which I think Becca can talk a little bit more about too, but we just wanted to let everyone know if that can be helpful. We have a lot more cool outreach stuff, and yeah, thank you so much for having us. I'll let Becca take it.
Thank you. Thanks, Oriana. And thank you again for everyone for having us. We're really excited for the opportunity to talk about Packard and some of the really great services we offer. And I think, as Oriana mentioned, our whole mission is to really eliminate any barrier to care. So be it transportation or, just trouble navigating the system, we hope that we can offer the resources to overcome those barriers. So, in addition to the home visits for the vaccines and immunizations, we have a fairly robust food program. So we have food pantries at 2 of our 3 main clinics. And we also just initiated a really cool free produce market day at our West Clinic on the West Side. It is open to patients and the community. So anyone can come get food. It's all free. If anyone does have transportation barriers, we can also schedule a house or home drop off. So again, really trying to eliminate any barriers there. We also have several partnerships in the community that help with transportation. So we partner with Phoenix Mobility. We have some grant funding to help get some essential rides for them. And many of you might know they are also offering free rides to any COVID vaccine site for anyone door to door. So they're a great organization, Phoenix Mobility, and that's through the health department. I'm happy to pass along more information about that. In addition, we also keep a fairly robust durable medical equipment loan closet. So anything from mobility aids, canes, walkers to, you name it. We get some really great donations from the community, many that are barely used or unopened. So again, should the need arise, we can also coordinate and do drop off to the home. That should never be a barrier. We are happy to come to you. I think those are the big things I wanted to share. Other than that, we do have 6 full-time, essentially social workers who work on anything from helping with medical bills to helping you with the utility shutoff, unemployment, financial assistance. So, again, we really try to be a full comprehensive service here at Packard, not only addressing medical needs, but really all those social services that community really needs. I think that is about it. And again,
Becca
thank
or
you.
Oriana, Could you list your website and also the number on how those can get a hold of you, please?
Yes, absolutely. We will put that in the chat. Absolutely. Please reach out with any questions.
Could you speak it verbally as well, please? Thank you.
Oh, sure. Yes, yes. So you can do the number to call. So this is a direct line to our community health worker, who would be the one to set up, home visits for medical equipment, food delivery, and to set up a vaccine appointment. And that number is 734-926-4914. And she is here every day with us. Please feel free to leave a message. It is, HIPAA compliant, and we will call you back within 24 to 48 hours. Anything
And
else
your
that we can
website, please?
share? Yep. So it's just www.packard, Packard health.org.
Wonderful. Thank you both, Oriana and Becca.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we,
And,
is there a
and-
question? It looks like there might be a question. Any questions are fine.
I do
Yeah,
have
sure.
a question.
Sure.
Regarding the vaccinations, I know we're not at a place yet where we're starting to look at vaccination boosters, but I do know there are entities who are starting to allow for third vaccinations, like for folks who are immunocompromised. Is that something that you all are able to provide at this time?
Yeah, we have on our website, the packardhealth.org. You can go on and self-schedule, and anyone that's immunocompromised is absolutely welcome to get a vaccine.
Okay.
And you don't have to be a patient to get any of the vaccines with us. You don't have to have a health record or prove that you're immunocompromised. So right now they're still waiting, I think, to figure out for the general public if boosters make sense with the global need and a lot of other factors. But immunocompromised right now, absolutely.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you again, both. And are there any other questions before we move on? Yeah.
Yeah, Zach, can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for your presentation. Just quick question, to get your thoughts. I'm curious a little bit more about the services and whatnot that you offer at Packard Health. I know I can go online to the website, but you guys know the company best. As far as services, what do you offer there? Can you get tests done there? I know you mentioned as far as social work and stuff goes, that being a resource. But do people use your services as their primary healthcare clinic, or do you guys do surgery? Do you get are you a hospital? Can you give me a little bit more information on that?
I'll start, and then Becca can, if she wants to add anything else. We do have primary care services, so we are, we're the primary care provider for many people in Washtenaw County. So that means you can come for any of your general health care needs. We do have therapists, so we have a behavioral health department, so we have counseling and then we have social workers and community health workers that help just connect services, things like that. We don't do any surgery or anything. We do minor procedural stuff, and then we're closely affiliated, not directly affiliated, but we have good relationships with St. Joe's and University of Michigan. And we have 3 health centers. I think we have around 20 providers at this time between the 3 clinics that are medical. And then we also have behavioral health folks and social workers and nurses and medical assistants and everything like that. So it's pretty much full services as far as general health maintenance and prevention. Anything else, Becca?
The only thing I would add is we do, we serve ages, prenatal, so people can come get their OB care with us all the way through, palliative care. So all ages. And we also, we are insurance agnostic. If you do not have insurance, you are more than welcome to come to our clinic. We offer a sliding fee scale. We will work with you. Again, eliminating any barrier to care. That's what we're here for. The only other thing I wanted to mention is with our vaccine outreach, our home visits, it is also for children too. So right now it's 12 and up who are the vaccine is open to. So Oriana and I have gone out to some children with behavioral issues or concerns that it's difficult for them to leave their home. But as people are getting back to school, that was a priority for parents. So we're really open to that type of situation as well.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you, ladies, for all the work that you do at Packard Health. And thank you for the amazing services you're providing in terms of going to people's homes, providing them with the option to get the vaccine. It's a great service that you're doing, and we definitely wish you the best.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Zach. It's great to see everyone.
Thanks for
on
having
Zoom.
us.
Absolutely, folks. All right. Well, moving on in our presentations, I'm proud to welcome Colin Smith, the Services Manager, and Adam Fairchild, the Parks Planner for Parks and Recreation with the City of Ann Arbor. And of course, they're going to present on the collaboration and of course the ADA transition plan, and of course what they're doing in terms of development with the new parks and rec. So gentlemen, welcome, and thank you so much for taking the time.
Park planner here with the Parks Department, and I'll be working on this ADA transition plan, which I can present now. Can you let me know if you can see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I thought I'd start today real quick, just kind of running through our A2 Parks core values. I think they're important and play an important part of why we're doing what we're doing here. Our mission is together we enrich life by cultivating exceptional experiences. Our values are stewardship. We responsibly manage and care for our natural, cultural, and physical resources for current and future generations. Exceptional customer service. We interact with all people in a professional, friendly, and respectful manner while striving to exceed expectations. Innovative improvements. We foster an environment that supports and encourages innovation and dynamic creative solutions. Integrity. We build trust and maintain accountability by doing the right thing. Community. We work collaboratively to include and engage the full diversity of our community. Excellent parks and spaces. We provide safe environments, beautiful spaces, and welcoming atmosphere. And then have fun is our last one. So with that being said, we want this to apply to everyone in our community, regardless of need. So to start with, there are actually very few new parks being created. We're not, there's not new parks being popped up where we can just implement accessibility. A lot of our resources are spent on making improvements to the parks and the infrastructure that we have. When we're making improvements, we have opportunities to make spaces more accessible for everyone. That's something we're trying to include when we go through new projects. Examples of accessible improvements, there's the Universal Access Playground at Gallup Park that was completed in 2017. It's a beautiful space that was designed and constructed with accessibility as the top priority. We have the universal access improvements to our liveries at Gallup and then Argo starting up actually next week. You can see over here what we want to do is create an entire accessible river experience where you can get in and out of the water without having issues. We do things like accessible pathway improvements. So right now we have a project going on at Gallup Park with the border to border. We include things with having companion seating at the benches, providing respite spaces, things like that. And then when we're doing even like game courts, basketball courts, we're providing spaces like the accessible companion seating, adding pickleball to Burns Park that's coming up, which is a more accessible sport. So we are doing things right now, but that's to say, not to say we can't do better. And you know, our mission is together we enrich life and cultivating these exceptional experiences. And you know, we've routinely worked with the Center for Independent Living and getting feedback, but less so on the Commission on Disability Issues. And we would love to find a way to get you more involved and receive your valuable and important feedback. So a few things that we were talking about is perhaps having a monthly standing meeting with an assigned commissioner to review upcoming projects with a park planner, myself, or Hillary Hansel, the other one. We could do communication reports and give it to the CODI, informing you of upcoming and ongoing projects. And if there's anything that you want to provide input on, you can let us know. we can present projects to the CODI meeting prior to going to our Park Advisory Commission, so that we're getting feedback that's important and valuable. Like I said, we want to find a way to get feedback from you all. With that being said, we're looking at doing an ADA transition plan. You all know the American with Disabilities Act. It came law in 1990. The civil rights law prohibits discrimination against individuals with disabilities in all areas of public life, including jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. And the purpose of this law is to make sure that people with disabilities have the same rights and opportunities as everyone else. It protects individuals with disabilities similar to those provided to individuals on the basis of race, color, sex, national origin, age, and religion, and it guarantees equal opportunity for individuals with disabilities in public accommodations, employment, transportation, state and local government services, and telecommunications. It's divided into 5 titles. And so why this is important is the ADA transition plan really falls under Title II, which is non-discrimination on the basis of disability in state and local government services.
Excuse me for a moment, Adam. It's hard to hear you. You're breaking up some.
Oh, I apologize. Can you guys hear me now, or is it still hard?
A little distant.
I don't know. I'm here at City Hall with me. Is that better? Can you hear me now? Or is it still really distant?
Okay, sound better. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So sorry, where was I? So with the Title II, the important part is this outlines the administrative process to be followed for a transition project, which includes the requirements for self-evaluation and planning, requirements for making reasonable modifications to policies, practices, and procedures where necessary to avoid discrimination, identifies architectural barriers, and the need for effective communication with people with hearing, vision, and speech disabilities. This is regulated and enforced by the U.S. Department of Justice. So a little background on the ADA transition plan. Accessibility is identified as a major goal in the Park and Recreation Open Space Plan, which is our PROS plan. We have done individual accessibilities at some of our facilities, but there's never been a comprehensive whole system study, which is what this is geared towards doing. The ADA transition plan allows us to address accessibility in a proactive manner as opposed to reactive. I just want to point out there are currently no Department of Justice ADA complaints against the Parks and Recreation Department. I think that's kind of important because we really are trying to do the best that we can now, just for the sake of our community members, not because we're being told we have to do that here. So I want to talk about the plan of action with the ADA transition plan. First, we'll talk about evaluation of physical space. The investigation of physical elements within the park will be investigated to ensure ADA compliance. All non-compliant issues will be identified and prioritized, and a final report will provide actions to bring these elements into compliance. The stakeholder and input and engagement will hold community engagement meetings and reach out to stakeholders to understand challenges that people are having with the park system. Findings will be presented midway through the study to provide for an opportunity to receive feedback. As our proposal stands, we have 2 engagement sessions, a midway check-in point to update on how we're doing, and then there will be 2 online surveys as well. So we really want to keep people involved in this situation. Presentations to the commissions will presented to this Park Advisory Commission and you guys to as to what we're doing and keep you updated as we go through in our findings. At the end, there'll be an open comment period on our final report before it's taken in. Evaluation for programmatic elements. So this is an investigation of our programs, camps, classes, events, to see if they're accessible. It'll make recommendations to ensure they are used. That's saying if we have a class somewhere that's not accessible, maybe there's a better place to have it, or what can we do to that program so that it is accessible where it might not be now. GIS and database coordination. The findings of the report are processed digitally and coordinated with the city's CityWorks program, which allows real-time updates to occur. I want to emphasize this is a living, usable document. We don't want a folder to sit on the shelf. This is an active thing. In our CityWorks, that's where when someone has a complaint now, it gets in there and it becomes part of our work plan that we can be geared towards. So this will be integrated into what we are already doing, which will make it easier to achieve. And the last point is the staff training. So in addition to the ADA transition plan, we're asking the consultant to train ourselves and our staff to perform evaluations in the future. So we can perform the study that we're putting out is not hitting all of the parks in nature areas, but we'll be able to do that ourselves by being trained how to do this. The selection team that we put together, so Chairman Damon, he was on the commission. Scott Spooner, he's our deputy manager in charge of maintenance. Hillary Hansel and myself as park planners, and then Jason Nealis is our parks maintenance supervisor. So we'll all be involved in this process as it goes on. We put out a RFP, a request for proposals, on March 3rd, 2021, and we received 11 proposals from consultants around the country. All of the proposals were scored on a predetermined set of criteria by all of the selection team, and we kind of came together and determined the top 5 scoring teams that we invited for an interview. And then from there, afterwards it was completed, we came together and unanimously felt that Altura Solutions was the best fit to guide us through this planning process. They have a really strong track record of working with municipalities and specifically park systems on transition plans, which we felt that some of the other teams actually didn't. They had municipality track records, but not so much working in a parks system. And actually I was just speaking with Jesus from Altura, and they just hired a park manager from the Austin area who just completed a transition plan for their own park department that they said was pretty successful. So we were excited to work with her on that. They have familiarity working with our CityWorks software, which was also a very big component because many of the other consultants have their own proprietary systems that wouldn't integrate well into what we are doing now. So we are recommending an approval of a professional services agreement with Altura in the amount of $116,915 to provide this compliance assessment and transition plan. I want to speak a little bit about the parks and facilities that we have scheduled in this proposal. So it includes all of our recreational facilities. It includes what we consider our community-wide parks, which are Vandermeer, Beer, Burns, Fuller, Gallup, Island Park, Olson Park, Southeast Area, Veterans Memorial, and West Park. And then we have some smaller neighborhood parks, one in each ward, kind of so we have an equal sampling across the city, and the same with our natural areas. And like I said, we want to train our staff so that we can continue doing these and complete the rest of the parks and the natural areas on our own. And I believe that we have 28 to 30 hours of training as Altura does some of these other facilities and parks so that we can really understand what's happening. So our next step is we hope to start this in spring of 2022. It will take place over the spring, summer, and fall, and hopefully we'll have a final report fall of next year. We do have funding available for this contract in our fiscal year 2022 park maintenance and capital improvement millage budget. So that's kind of where we are with that. And so I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have. So yes, and thank you again for allowing me to present this with you all.
Well, thank you, Adam. And, I must say too, if I can just pipe in about Altura, what I thought was nice when we were evaluating this process, folks, was that Altura also expressed big interest in getting community feedback, meaning they would go out of, well, I don't want to say go out of their way, but they would really make an emphasis on making sure that community engagement was essential so that they could ask the type of questions that needed to get some answers. And of course, they were very, very interested in also talking with the commission possibly as well. So, you know, as that process goes forward, I look forward to just keeping you all informed on that. And yeah, it was a great experience. A lot of work, but very important work at that, Adam. So thank you. Matthew, you have a question.
Yes, I just wanted to make sure that Adam had heard the comment publicly about the desire for a more robust, more inclusive approach, some concerns about the budget being sufficient to the task. I want to make sure that that public comment was heard by those involved. And I also just have a question about the park, the livery, the canoe livery.
Yes, what can I help you with on that?
I couldn't hear you. Can you?
Yes, what can I answer on the livery question for you?
So you did hear the public comment by a member of our community?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Ms. Kingston.
The question was, can you detail a little more what that's going to entail? Because as a person with a disability who has a strong desire to use that facility on a regular basis, I have concerns about safety. And it sounds like you're taking those things under advisement. I'm just wondering if you can fill me in a little bit more about what that entails. I'm looking at this picture. Yeah, can you speak to that a little bit more?
We're talking the
canoe livery, correct?
Yeah. So a few years ago at Gallup Canoe Livery, we put in the Easy Launch Kayak system, which allows you to get in and out of the water from a wheelchair. There's a board that comes out over top and allows you to sit in and get off. We are putting in 2 of those at Argo. We're regrading the site so that there's accessibility on all the walks through there. We are putting site furnishings that they have the companion seating. They have we have picnic table, which actually met with Ms. Kingston and Commissioner Gossage recently on to see if our tables work, and I'm kind of looking to see what other options we might have. We are updating the restrooms to include new cabanas that are accessible and all new accessible fixtures in there. The parking lot at the livery is at Argo that we're about to start is going from a gravel lot to paved with 4 accessible parking spaces. So we're doing that. We're kind of the line where we're doing the widening of the sidewalks. We're creating kind of a nice line queue because right now it kind of gets congested right around the livery itself. So we're trying to space it out a little bit more. So the whole site, we received a grant from the Department of Natural Resources to make all of these accessible improvements. So yeah, so I'd be happy to send a plan along of what we're doing on there. But that's kind of the overall aspect of our scope.
Sounds great. Ms. Kingston raised some concerns about budget. Do you share those concerns?
I can maybe speak to those a little bit. This is Colin Smith. I'm actually the parks manager. When we put this in our work plan, we budgeted up to $150,000 for it. So it came in roundabout where we thought it would. The expectation was not to have every park and every facility evaluated in the transition plan. understanding that that would be both very time consuming and also very expensive, but rather we wanted to make sure that we had staff trained in evaluation ourselves. What I've really learned, experienced over the years is the more that our staff understand and are able to own things and own processes, then our oversight of those amenities usually works better in the long run. An example is how we take care of all of our playgrounds. We have almost 85, and they have safety inspections, which are performed by our own staff who are trained to do those. So it's actually one of the things that we really like about this proposal is the fact that we're going to learn an awful lot in it, and then be able to use that to take us forward, I think.
Thank you for that additional clarification.
Commissioner Gossage has his hand up.
Yep, and then I just wanted to say that unfortunately, that'll be the final question for this presentation. Thank you.
Okay, well, I have a few then, so maybe I'll have to follow up with both of you. So I guess in my mind, the regarding the budget, have plans been made or discussed or a timeline been kind of started to be mapped out with making sure assessments can be done at those other parks that are not necessarily a part of this RFP at this time?
Yeah, so in part, we'll be able to do those with existing staff, which is actually works well as we move forward because it's not a capital outlay. What to me really makes sense to do is to move forward this way to get this amount of it done, to try to continue to do it in-house where we need to. But one of the other things which is really valuable with this transition plan is it will give us a really, really good context of the parks that are being evaluated, and will lay out sort of what the funding requirements would be to bring those particular sites up to code. And other communities that have used transition plans oftentimes then can use those as the basis for an approach to secure funding to make improvements and to do future study.
Colin, can I add on that? As when we're registering our transition plan with the Department of Justice, we're required to have an ADA coordinator on staff. And that person's role will be to help make sure that we're staying on schedule with things. So they're kind of the overseer of it, and they'll be responsible. So we haven't identified who that is at the moment, but that is a requirement of the transition plan.
So that's a question that's come up in this body, several times before. Is the vision here that that would be the ADA coordinator for the city of Ann Arbor, or would this be a different individual?
As part of the parks, that would be the ADA transition plan for this parks plan. I can't speak as a city level, maybe Colin, you have more, but this plan specifically would be parks focused.
Right, that's correct.
Okay. And, for the interest of time, I want to encourage, any other individuals, on this meeting, that if you have additional questions, to reach out and to inquire, and either, you can send those questions to myself or Colin and Adam, if you guys are happy to have some commissioners reach out with some other questions that they may have.
Happy to answer any questions that come my way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for all the work that you're doing and for the presentation. I do appreciate your time. And, I look forward to kind of strengthening the relationship with Kodai and the Parks Department. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Do you mind, Adam, if you could unshare your screen, please?
Yep, trying to.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So next, I'd like to move on to our next presentation, We have Katie Monkevich of the Washtenaw Library for the blind and physically disabled. So welcome, Katie.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here. I hope everybody had a good summer. Sorry, I'm a little glary. Maybe that's better. Okay, sorry. Anyway, I'm so happy to be able to tell you all that the Ann Arbor District Library locations are all currently open daily, noon to 8 p.m. So we hope that we get to see you all soon. It's been nice seeing everybody come back to the library and being able to help everybody get their books and everything. All of our collections are available for browsing. Public seating is available at all locations. Hold shelves and self-checkout stations are back. Public computing, printing, and copying are available, and all meeting and studying rooms are available on a first-come, first-served basis. That includes the Assistive Technology Lab downtown. Something that's a little bit new, and I'm not sure if I mentioned it previously, but I want to make sure that you all know that if you have an Ann Arbor District Library card, you have online access to the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal online. So you can visit aadl.org/nytimes or aadl.org/WSJ for details about that. It's a really nice new resource that we've had. We have some events coming up. We're still mostly functioning on Zoom right now, but we do have some interesting things coming up. We are bringing back a series that you might be familiar with called Friday Night AI, and AI in this case stands for Artificial Intelligence. Our upcoming event is called Racial Disparities in Legal Enforcement, the Promises and Perils of AI. This is going to be on Friday, September 17th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. That will be on Zoom. A year into America's racial reckoning and 7 years into the Black Lives Matter movement, the national conversation has brought renewed attention to the relationship between law enforcement and the communities they serve. Join us for an evening of discussion, discussing research on how we are building AI systems to highlight and reduce racial disparities in policing communication. At the same time, another conversation is taking place. Can artificial intelligence be used to expose and combat racial disparities in the justice system, or will it simply reinforce existing biases? Our speakers will discuss the uses and misuses of AI in policing and highlight areas where big data can be a tool to combat inequality in the criminal justice system. This conversation will speak to the challenges at the intersection of technology, equity, and racial justice. We also have coming up Culinary Historians, Mexico's Early Cookbooks, on Sunday, September 19th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. on Zoom. Join Maite Gomez Rejon of Art Bites in exploring early Mexican recipes. Read between the lines of colonial kitchen manuscripts, the first printed cookbooks post-independence through the revolution in the early 20th century. Discover the shifting attitudes toward food, from a status marker and divider of classes to a tool for unifying the country and creating a unique national identity. As usual, to get materials, Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Print Disabled patrons can order digital cartridges by calling 734-327-4224 or emailing WLBPD@aadl.org. You can sign up for the Braille and audio reading download service to download your own books. Visit nlsbard.loc.gov or call us and we can assist with the application. Some titles just recently added to BARD are The Big Leap, Conquer Your Hidden Fear and Take Life to the Next Level by Gay Hendricks. Psychologist presents a guide to identifying fears in your life that are preventing you from progressing to your goals. Topics include identifying your fear, working through the issues causing the fear, working towards what he calls the zone of genius, and operating in your zone of genius. Millennial Nuns, Reflections on Living a Spiritual Life in a World of Social Media by the Daughters of St. Paul. In this collective memoir, 8 sisters share their own personal reflections and stories of faith and discuss how they embrace social media to evangelize, calling themselves the hashtag Media Nuns. They offer practical takeaways and tips for living a more spiritually fulfilled life, no matter your religious affiliation. And Trejo, My Life of Crime, Redemption, and Hollywood by Danny Trejo. Memoir of a character actor mostly known for roles as tough guys and villains. He shares stories of his early life of violence, addiction, and incarceration in some of California's most infamous prisons. He emerged from prison to become a drug counselor and mentor while gaining acclaim as an actor. And that is all I have for y'all today. Does anybody have any questions for me?
And Trail, I'm gonna have to check that out. That sounds interesting, Katie.
I thought so too. I thought you might like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, does anyone
Can
else?
you repeat the,
Go ahead.
can you repeat the, it was, sounded like almost like a self-help title. Can you remember the author and when is the date of that Mexican cookbook presentation?
Sure. So the self-help book is called The Big Leap. And that is by Gay Hendricks. And our culinary historian, Mexico's early cookbooks event is on Sunday, September 19th at 4 p.m. And the Zoom link will be on our website just shortly before the event starts. Cool. Anybody else? All right. Well, so good to see you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie. And good luck to all the staff there. Thank you for everything that you guys do. Glad to hear you guys are open and keeping things moving.
Yep. Thanks.
Yep. All right. Next, we have Alex Gossage, the Executive Director for the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living.
Thanks, Zach. Hi, everybody. I'll probably have more information next month just about general goings-ons and all of those things. We do continue to provide most of our services virtually. However, we have been meeting with some folks face-to-face. This is always subject to change and may in fact be changing yet again with some of the increases in COVID that we have been seeing. But the CIL is there for folks with disabilities. If you have questions, concerns, or in need of resources, please feel free to reach out to the CIL. We are open and available from 8:30 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. Our phone number is 734-971-0277, or you can email us at info@aacil.org. And then finally, on our website, which is www.annarborcil.org, we do keep an up-to-date listing of different activities that are going on at the CIL and with some of our community partners on our calendar. And that's what I've got for today.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex, and thank you for all the work that the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living does for and with our community. I know that you guys hosted some, pop-up vaccination clinics a while back, during the pandemic, and you guys helped with that. So a lot of great resources there at the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, and hope that, residents can continue to use that as a great resource. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach.
Yep. All right. Next, we have the Community Engagement Committee and Ann Arbor Inclusive Update from Rachel Hawkins.
My apologies. Can everyone hear me now?
Sure can.
Okay, wonderful. So just a quick update from Ann Arbor Inclusive. So the August show was focused on Eastern seals. It's on the Ann Arbor Inclusive YouTube page. So anyone is able to access that at any time. In September, they're going to be talking to Miss Wheelchair Michigan, Laura Jackson, and that will be premiering September 17th at 4:30 p.m. on Channel 16. And then they're going to be starting a new series in October, focused on where are they now is the theme. So there will be more to come on that once I have more information and they have those taped.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And of course, great job you do, Rachel, with the Community Engagement Committee. And thank you to host Tom Houtland and Linda Evans and the Community Television Network for doing a great job with Ann Arbor Inclusive and Miss Wheelchair Michigan. So awesome. Cool. Wonderful. Thank you. All right. So next we have the Partners in Access Committee report with Alex Gossage.
Hello again. So we were able to meet a couple of times over the summer, even though the commission was not meeting at that time. I think one of the topics we discussed, or at least began to discuss, was how we as a commission could improve our ability to connect with not necessarily just the other commissions, but definitely the other commissions, the other councils and groups that exist through the City of Ann Arbor, but also City of Ann Arbor staff. So I think we'd like to continue to look at ways that our commissioners can connect with commissions like Tim does already with the Transportation Commission, as well as maybe creating those ways that Adam mentioned in his presentation earlier today, where Cody could connect with those groups on a more regular basis. So I was glad to see that that was a recommendation from Adam and the city parks folks, because I think that's the direction we should be going in order to keep ahead of and on top of all of these important access and other disability related issues as they come about. Did I miss anything, Larry?
Nope.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you, gentlemen, for all you do on the Partners in Access Committee. And speaking of Larry, next we have the recruiting activity update, Mr. Larry Keeler.
We have still not recruited anybody yet.
Okay.
As far as I know, there's no, I've heard of no applications or anything as of the last couple of months. Of course, the summer was kind of, yeah. But we're starting to get out more. I'm starting to get out more. I'm starting to get around and start to visit with other people. So soon I'll be able to talk to people about the commission and hopefully get them to come in and pick up an app and sign up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Larry. All right. Moving forward, we have the Transportation Commission update with Mr. Tim Holt.
Yeah, so we had a few meetings while we were this commission was off. There was a lot of discussion about the healthy streets, and also there was got a presentation on this in June. We got a presentation on the Speed Reduction Commission, or July that was the speed reduction, and we also had a presentation on Sharrows, and then we had in August a presentation on advisory bike lanes and our annual crash report. And I know that in the upcoming meeting, we actually have some stuff about the snow removal, because now the city's coming back with their report based on the resolution that was passed this winter. And yeah, that's, I guess, the main thing on the agenda. There's also been a number of updates. I mean, the transit's been back to normal, like the AAATA, and I know that U of M has gone through a number of changes. I mean, they did keep a lot of their pandemic changes, but then I heard they brought back some of the Northwood and Bursley Bates buses just in response to just some of the crowding issues, though it's still different from where it was before. But we also got recommendations from the Lower Town Mobility Study on tonight's agenda. And that's tonight at 6 o'clock if you're interested. It's not the normal 7 o'clock, but yeah. And I've also been keeping up on the RTA stuff. They're still working on getting the D2A2 service back. It sounds like driver shortage is the issue there, which is probably seems like that's been an issue for a lot of transit agencies. I still see AAATA is still not running 100% of the service. There's a couple routes that are like slightly reduced or not running, but it's most of it they're running, the vast majority back. And all right, I guess that's my report.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Tim, for the developments with the Transportation Commission. As far as driver shortage, I've noticed that as well for other transportation resources around the city as well, that there's been a lot of driver shortages, just not many drivers out there, folks. And so things are kind of taking a little bit longer than usual. So I appreciate you pointing that out, because I also noticed that as well. Moving on, we have the Council for Disability Concerns meeting update with Kathleen.
Hi, everyone. So before we took our break, we talked about the council hearing from the WISE committee, which is the Workplace Innovation and Staff Experience, but they shortened it to WISE. And based on the presentation that they gave us and the documentation that they gave us and their recommendations, the council created a white paper to put in our own recommendations and things like that. And I want to let you know that an email was sent from that white paper to the University of Michigan provost, VPs and AVPs who are charged with implementing the WISE recommendations. And we're still waiting for a response, but it's only been about a month, and with vacations and school getting started, we imagine that's going to take a little bit of time. The University of Michigan Center for Disability Health and Wellness is hosting a disability symposium on Friday, October 1st. Right now, I do not have any more information other than you can check their website as it gets closer to October 1st, and they will have more information. I did look at that website today, and it's still not updated yet. So I imagine that will come soon. We also had the pleasure of talking and listening to the Detroit Disability Power. They gave us a presentation in regards to their upcoming events and their latest works. And I highly recommend, if you're interested in watching and learning about disability justice, Detroit Disability Power is an excellent resource. And they are at Detroit Disability Power, altogether, no spaces.org. And our September meeting was yesterday. There isn't a lot to report. The whole meeting basically surrounded a presentation from Work Connections, which deals with faculty and staff accommodations. It doesn't really affect our general public. And lastly, our next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, October 12th at noon. It's always the second Tuesday of the month, and everyone is invited.
Thank you. Wonderful things that you're, again, that you're involved with there, Kathleen, with the U of M Council for Disability Concerns. Really excited to hear about the Disability Symposium, October 1st. Now, for those watching, that will be digital, correct? Do you know, or is that going to be in person?
Yes,
okay.
It will be digital. Again, though, when I went to the website today, the Zoom link hasn't been posted, but there's a little sign that says watch. So I'm hopeful that that information will come across soon if people are interested.
Awesome. Thank you. And then, of course, yes, Detroit Disability Power, great organization, folks. Dessa Cosma and her staff there doing great work. So glad to hear that. Thank you. All right. Next, we have the city personnel report with Denise.
Good afternoon. We have Amanda Carl, who has just been hired with the Water Treatment and Service as Water Utility Supervisor. We have Barbara Dufault, Ann Arbor Housing Commission Administrative Assistant. We have Tina Gill, 15th District Court Clerk. We have added Amanda Hayes, Parking Referee. Mia Miller, 15th District Court Clerk. Daniel White III, Public Works Technician, and a retired farewell to Dina Waddell, City Clerk Office Administrative Assistant.
Oh my gosh, a retiree. Congratulations to her. What an accomplishment. And talk about a good amount of new staff welcomed in for you guys. So thank you very much. Awesome. All right. Next, we have the chair report. And under that, folks, all I am going to suggest is that during our next meeting coming up in October, I would like us to really, just be able to finally name a vice chairman in October. And of course, I know that we've talked about this before, but I just wanted to make sure to the commission that, that still the two names that were brought up, months back, which were Larry Keeler and also Alex Gossage. If those were the two candidates that were still interested, or if any of you on the commission had a change of heart and were still maybe wanting to be a vice chairman, I can assure you, either way, I think, we'll be able to vote one in, and it'll be a pleasure to work with either of you. But I just wanted to make sure going forward that if there were any other candidates that were interested, that they can shoot me an email and just express their interest. And then once October comes around, hopefully we can, vote a vice chairman in so that, we can begin working with them. And I can assure you, I will do my best to make sure to make your job hopefully as easy as possible. So that's all I have at this time for the chair report. Let's see. I wanted to go now. We don't have anything under old business, so I wanted to go under new business. And we have a new item. It's an ADA complaint report. I don't know if there was any ADA complaints recently. Were there any with the city? Does anyone know?
Zach, that's the most recent that came over the summer, just that one.
Got it. Just making sure. Okay, thank you. All right. And there it looks like there was a public comment letter. Is that correct?
Yes, that was sent over the summer as well. I sent to all the commissioners.
Yep. Okay. Yep. I had seen that. I'm just trying to make sure that I addressed everything at this meeting so that it was covered. Let's see. As far as announcements go, does anyone have any announcements for the commission that you would like to express at this time? All right. And then as far as our next meeting, being in person or Zoom, Denise, I imagine that we're going to continue to do Zoom. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. We are encouraged to continue Zoom through the rest of 2021.
All righty. All right. So we will be doing Zoom again for the October meeting. So just be prepared for that, everyone. And for those that joined us today, and for those that presented, and also for those residents that joined us as well, I want to thank everyone for their time and their efforts, because again, it is important. We definitely value your time. And I have to say that I really enjoy seeing all of your faces, and I cannot wait to see all of you in person sometime soon. So thank you guys very much. I'm going to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. And as always, you guys, if there is anything that you need, any questions, any concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me, okay?